Do you find it difficult to set boundaries? Do you find it difficult to deal with certain people in your life? Because these people, for whatever reason, you've given power to them? Let me just share with you. If you don't set healthy boundaries in your life, there's no self-love. Because self-love means that you're taking an interest in who you are. You're not taking an interest. You're taking control over who you are and the direction that your life goes. So setting healthy boundaries means that you understand, first of all, who you are, what you're about, what are the limits that you're going to do, and then you let people know. You tell them, if we're going to be in relationship, then this is the situation that we've got to come to an agreement on. And if we can't come to an agreement, then we need to limit our time, because your energy that's against what I want in my life is not helping me. And you'll say, well, Lee, that's really selfish. Well, let me ask this question. Does that person really care about you? Does that person really have your highest interest at the forefront? Or do they have their perceived notion of your highest interest at their forefront? Or are they just doing it because they want to feel good? And if you respond the way they want, they'll get a temporary hit of dopamine or something that makes them feel better. Think about that. I'll tell you something. No one ever really does anything for anyone else. They do it for themselves. People say, well, I volunteer, I do this. You're not doing it for the people you volunteer for. You're doing it because it makes you feel good. If it didn't make you feel good, you wouldn't do it. So this is another aspect of refining self-love. And so it means setting healthy boundaries. Do you have healthy boundaries with your mother and your father? Do you have healthy boundaries with your mother-in-law and father-in-law? Do you have healthy boundaries with your children? Do you have healthy boundaries with your boss? Do you have healthy boundaries with your coworkers? Do you have healthy boundaries with your friends? Yeah, your friends. Because friends should be accepting you as you are. People that care about you should be accepting as you are. If they're not, think about it. What are they doing? They're infringing on your boundaries. Here's another thing, though. Let me be really clear. Have you set your boundaries? Or even before that, do you have boundaries? Do you know what your boundaries are? Do you know why you have boundaries? That's a really good question. If you have boundaries, why do you have those boundaries? Are you trying to protect yourself from an illusion? Is it an issue that you really need to deal with inside? And maybe you set the boundary because you've got this issue, you haven't really dealt with it, and right now you need the time to deal with it, so you're setting a boundary. I don't want to talk about that. I don't want to do that. I don't want to be that. That's okay. Whatever you decide, it's okay. But here's the key thing. Let's get aware. Let's become aware and look at, do we need healthy boundaries? There are certain topics that I am not going to get involved in. And you say, well, why aren't you going to get involved in those topics? I says, because there's just opinions. And everyone's entitled to an opinion. And I'm not on this planet, in this body, with this mind and personality to change your opinions. That would be real egocentric of me, wouldn't it? I don't come on this podcast to change your mind. I come on this podcast to give you ideas, to give you questions, so you can choose Are you on your right path? Have you set healthy boundaries with the people you're coming in contact with? Are you scared? Are you scared to set healthy boundaries with whomever it is? Spouse, partner, friend, boss, parent? Are you scared? Then you got to ask the question, what am I scared of? Really, what am I scared of? Pleasing them? That's interesting. Why do you have a belief that it's necessary to please someone? It's a really good one. I'm not here to please my wife. I'm not here to please my mom and dad who have transitioned. I'm not here to please my in-laws who have transitioned. I'm not here to please my sons, my granddaughter. I'm not here to please my best friends. I'm not here to please my spiritual community. I'm here to be authentically. And if I can be authentically, I'm an example to people so that you can be authentic Dee Dee, authentic Joanna, authentic Sarah, authentic Becky, authentic Annette, authentic Gloria, authentic Bodie girl, authentic Anita. I don't want to be authentic Anita. I want you to know that right now. There's only one person that can be authentic Anita, Michelle Dunn, and she lives in Egypt. But if she's not being authentic, then there's no authentic Anita Michelle Dunn anywhere in the world, because she's the only one who can be her. Just like you're the only one that can be you. And there are people in this world who like to push and cross over boundaries. But if you haven't told them about your boundaries, how can they honor your request? And I know it's not a difficult thing to have that conversation with people, to really understand where you're coming from and to say, hey, at this time, I choose not to go there. So in our relationship, I would ask that we not go there. And if you really want to continue to go there, then we really need to put a pause on where we are in our relationship for a while, because I'm not ready. And they're like, well, no, you got to talk. You said, no, I'm not ready. And you can say, if you're at that point, this is not up for discussion. Another boundary, isn't it? Boundaries are clear and you hold to them. It doesn't mean you don't take them down eventually. You don't need them up all the time, because remember, you're an infinite expression of the one. But we forget that because we've got a body and an ego. It's just like when you're ill, you got to set boundaries. So I got COVID, right? I set a boundary. I can't exercise. Why? Because I knew I couldn't. If I did, it would hurt me more. Then as I started to feel better, what did I do? I lowered the boundary. See, I set a boundary in my own mind. That's important to realize too. Sometimes the boundaries we most need to set are with ourselves. Because the boundaries we don't set with others, rest assured, there are more boundaries we're not setting with how we think and how we approach life. And when I'm talking about that, I mean knowing what's truly of value to you, important to you, and then living it. That's one of the reasons why I offer the values determination process workshop, so that you can learn what are your top 3 to 5 values in your life at this time, and then you can start to live consciously. If you're interested in that workshop, it will be on Saturday, February 26th, 9:30 a.m. my time. You can get all the information on agapespiritualcenter.com on our calendar. Tammy says, when anxiety arises, sometimes emotions are so tense that I can't clearly communicate. What in the moment can help when these emotions come up and make it hard to communicate my message? First off, breathe. Take some conscious, deep breaths. Secondly, when you're in that state of anxiety, maybe it's better that you don't communicate at all. There's no reason why you have to communicate immediately. That's a reaction. In many situations, I will pause, I will stop the conversation, whatever, I'll stop what I'm doing, and I won't address it for a day, 2, 3, until my emotions go down. Remember, what is anxiety? Anxiety is fear of something happening in the future. It's not fear. Fear is an imminent danger that's right in front of you now. That requires an immediate action. If there is a poisonous snake right in front of you and it looks like it's going to strike, that's fear. But if you're having a dream about a snake who might strike you in the future, that's anxiety. Make sense? Anita says, right, exactly. Deal with that often. I've often at times had to kindly and firmly remind folks that I've got lines that can't be crossed. People can't read your mind. And so you got to let them know this is where I stand. And then, hey, people like it when they know where to stand. They like it. How to deal with people who are narcissistic personalities, people that push all your buttons, set all your boundaries. Well, here's a great question. Are you an enabler? Really good question. Are you a people pleaser? If you are, then you got to start asking, well, is this who I really am? Because a narcissist can only press your buttons if they know they're going to get something from you. And narcissists, they've got a radar that's tuned in. Oh, that person's a caregiver. That person's always going to say, yes, I'm going over there because that's going to feed me. So then you got to ask the question, am I that person? And then you ask the question, why am I spending time? Why am I giving that person time in my life? You don't have to give anyone time in your life. Here's the person you have to give time in your life. You. It's a good conversation we've had today. I want to thank you because I love that you're being open. Thank you, Tammy. Thank you, Anita. Thank you, Johanna, for being open and bringing questions out. And Johanna just says, thank you. The power is in me. Yeah. What's the name of my book? The Power in You. Came out about 2.5 weeks ago. If you haven't ordered it yet, go on Amazon. The Power in You by Rev Lee Wolak. I promise you, this book has 16 powers that I discuss in depth, but I only do it in 120 pages because I like to be quick. I like to give you the real meat of the situation and not a lot of baloney. Order the book. I promise you, you'll find things to think about. You'll find practical tools that will allow you to take control back of your life. So gang, here where I'm at, we've got ice and snow and sleet. Texas is paralyzed. Temperatures won't get much above 20 today. So I'm just sitting back and enjoying my day. And I'm going to create a great one. I hope and know that you will do the same. Until tomorrow. Hey, have you ever joined me for meditation? Would you like to take back your power? Would you like to have a break from all the stress in your life? I meditate every day at 7 a.m. on Zoom. You can get the link at agapespiritualcenter.com on the calendar. Everybody, create a great day. I love you and I accept you just the way you are. So go be you. Aloha.